Why Doris Day wanted no funeral and no grave. Doris Day was one of the most successful artists in the U.S. She was beloved by millions. But upon her death, she seemingly wished to erase herself from the world. Here is why. Day was born Doris Mary Capel Hoff in 1922 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Her mother was a homemaker, and her father was a music teacher. Doris developed an early interest in dance. In the mid-1930s, she formed a dance duo with Jerry Daugherty. They performed in competitions throughout the U.S. However, a tragic car accident in 1937 shattered her right leg. It ruined her prospects as a professional dancer. While recovering, Doris started to sing along with the radio. She discovered a talent she didn't know she had. Her mother hired a vocal coach. Impressed with Doris' talent, she gave her 3 lessons for the price of 1. Day started as a band singer in 1939. 6 years later, she had her first hit, Sentimental Journey. Day recorded more than 650 songs from 1947 to 1967. A few years later, she ventured into the movie world. By the 1950s, she was working with Warner Bros. And starring in blockbusters. However, Doris' love life wasn't as successful. She was married 4 times, but all her marriages were ultimately unhappy. Doris first married trombonist Stal Jordan in 1941. Soon, the new husband began to cheat on his wife. What's more, Jordan had schizophrenia and was often violent. Day became pregnant and refused to have an abortion. Jordan beat her in an attempt to force a miscarriage. He eventually killed himself. Day's second marriage was to saxophonist George Weidler. He was a chronic cheater who later abandoned Day and her son, Terry. Next, she married film producer Martin Melcher. He seemed to respect her and support her career. However, he was manipulative and violent with Terry. After Melcher's death, in 1968, Day discovered that she was in debt. Melcher had mismanaged her funds without her knowing. In 1976, Day married Barry Comden, the maitre d' at her favorite restaurant. He endeared himself to her by giving her a bag of meat scraps for her dogs. But that marriage also ended in divorce. Day's only child, Terry Melcher, died in 2004 from melanoma. Doris found solace in her love for animals. She had many pets and adopted stray animals. By the 1970s, she established the Doris Day Pet Foundation. Day spent her late years in isolation. The only thing she wanted to do was spend time with her dogs. She also loved to read emails sent in by her fans. Doris Day died on May 13, 2019, at the age of 97, from pneumonia. She never liked the idea of death and was opposed to ceremonial practices. In her will, she made sure her animals would be taken care of. Day left her fortune to charity. She requested no funeral services, grave marker, or other public memorials. She was cremated and her ashes were scattered. But even with no gravesite, Doris Day will never be forgotten.